Hi everyone, welcome to our third installment in our four-part series, Trash Talking, sponsored by the Growing Roles of Women. Today, we're conversing and connecting with some of our leaders in our consulting department here in TEI. Joining me here today is Morgan McDonald. Hi Morgan.
Hey Dana, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Next to me I have
Calais, Zumbach. I am our EHS Consulting Director of the Mid-Atlantic region. I've been with Triumvirate for 9 years. I started in our Astoria office, and I now work out of the Raleigh, North Carolina office.
Judy, Tilden, Director of Life Sciences in the New England region, and I have been with Triumvirate for 1 year.
Hi everyone, I'm Charlotte Scott. I am the Director of our consulting team in the West region, and I've been with Triumvirate for 11 years.
Whoosh! Excellent! Hey, cool.
As a woman in the EHS industry, what are some struggles and accomplishments that you've navigated throughout your role as a consultant?
Yeah, there have been several on both sides, which is a good thing. I think struggles, thinking about the growth of my confidence over time. I think there were many times where I kind of held my tongue or I didn't speak out, not really trusting in my own knowledge, my own, abilities. So I think the ability to apply candor in a lot of my normal situations, that's been a real accomplishment of mine. It's been something I've worked on, to be pretty, open-minded and speak my mind. So that's something that I've definitely struggled with, but have turned it into an accomplishment.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So I remember when you and I spoke, when you were first coming up in the industry, and there were jobs that maybe you were looked over because they didn't think that you could potentially do it. And I don't know if it was, in your role, but you knew in your mind you could. And I think you did tell me that you remained silent for a little bit, but then spoke up and really made sure that they knew that yes, you could do it and wanted to do it and was willing and were looking for those opportunities. So could you just talk to how important it is to make sure that you have a voice?
Yeah, 100%. So I think something I've seen a lot with men who are in the EHS industry, they have a lot of credibility behind them. They have a lot of letters behind their name. They have, experience in all these different industries. And I grew up within Triumvirate, so to speak, and didn't necessarily start as a consultant with that experience as an EHS professional. A lot of it was kind of self-taught. It came project by project. So using, putting myself into positions where I didn't necessarily have that background experience, but I knew that I had the drive and the tenacity to figure it out. There was a lot of backing myself that I had to do that I had to probably prove myself a little bit more than others that had that.
Judy, as somebody that's been with the organization for just over a year, what leadership advice do you look to impart on other colleagues that you're working with?
That's a great question. I think it's important that as you're growing into your leadership role that you are confident in your abilities. I think oftentimes that's something that, especially females, as they start to expand in their career, they start to question themselves a little bit. So they should really, be confident in the fact that they've earned the spot where they are, and it's not so much that they're perfect all the time, it's that they're resilient, they're fearless, and they continue to be curious.
How has joining TI at a senior level changed your influence, your perspective of being a female leader?
Since joining Triumvirate, it's been validating to be brought in at a senior level. Throughout my career, I've worked pretty hard to get where I was and had different opportunities presented to me where I was maybe took a leap before I was ready. But then being able to transfer those skills to a new company and a new set of colleagues and challenges was validating for the time that I put in the past. That's awesome.
We often talk about staying motivated in a leadership position and how difficult or challenging that can be. Charlotte, I've seen you stay motivated throughout the entirety of your career. What keeps you motivated on a daily basis?
So I think just myself and wanting to keep growing and challenging myself and learning and being better has definitely motivated me. And I've been lucky enough to be in a position where my hard work has been recognized, and I've been able to help grow the business where I'm currently located out on the West Coast in California. And it's been really exciting to experience the growth and bring on new clients and customers. And with that, we've been able to grow the team. So a few years ago, it was really just me, one other consultant, and now we have a team of about 10. And so it's really given me the opportunity to be able to be a leader and manage the team and be able to provide the same opportunities that were given me. Being able to experience different things every day, whether that's working with different clients, working with different people, traveling a bit more. There was more going on at Triumvirate than where I was previously. So it excited me to jump right back into something new. I had experience working with Triumvirate previously, and I was very excited to come back.
So do you feel like the leadership opportunities that were given to you at Triumvirate were maybe greater because the company was bigger and growing, opposed to the opportunities maybe in your other company?
Yeah, and I don't even necessarily think it was because of size too. The other company was also a large firm. However, I think the opportunities were greater. There was more opportunities for growth and to be involved in that growth where I wasn't seeing that day to day where I was previously.
So did you feel like the leadership here was connecting you more with those opportunities and giving you those experiences?
Yes, I definitely think the leadership here at Triumvirate is providing me those experiences, giving me flexibility and just
supporting you?
Yeah, supporting me and giving me that, backing me to be able to make decisions for my team.
So I know recently you've had a baby.
Yes.
So how old?
He is 10 months.
10 months, and his name is?
Milo.
Milo, awesome.
Yes.
So as a woman, a professional woman, having a child probably has changed, right? The way you're balancing your career now with being a mom.
Yeah.
And do you feel like the opportunities here have remained the same? And do you feel like that you've been embraced here in your role and the changes? And talk a little bit about that, please.
Surprisingly, I do really feel supported. I was nervous when I got pregnant and knew I was going to have to take some time away, and ultimately wanted to be treated the same.
Yeah.
And since it was all new to me and was going to be my first child, just navigating that for the first time, wasn't really sure, how soon I should tell people or, how people are going to treat me. Can I do the same type of work that I had been doing previously? So lots of thoughts going in my head on what's the right thing to do. But yeah, I felt very supported throughout the process and was able to take some time away and really returned and got right back into everything. And it's the same, if not better. And I feel supported, and it's remained great.
How does your passion for sustainability influence your approach when you're working with your clients? And has the recent sustainability committee impacted that approach at all?
I will say I joined Triumvirate because environmental specialist had the word environmental in it. Big passion for that, big background in it. An environmental health and safety consultant, we touch on the environment. We get 40 CFR, but probably not as close to it as I would have seen myself when I was doing my environmental science degree. So for this to now be something that, Triumvirate is really pushing and that we're seeking a lot more business in is really exciting, right? It really aligns with my passions. I think the companies that we tend to service and support in environmental health and safety, at least in Raleigh, very life science oriented. The workforce of those companies tend to be very motivated and tend to be very, into saving the world, right? It is a big priority for them, right? Is to make sure that their job does not have the impact that it could potentially have. So they're innovators. They are happy to, try new things. And again, they are as motivated by it as I am. So
That's exciting. Yeah. Calais, you're building out the consultant team down in the Mid-Atlantic. What qualities are you looking for in your new hires down there?
I'm looking for a lot. I want tenacity, self-motivated people who are curious, and people who can really build human connections with our clients. It's, we're not just hired to check the box, we're really hired to support a company's safety culture. And to do that, people need to know that you are there for them. You're not there for the company, right? And just to keep the company safe, you're there to keep them safe in and out of their daily lives. So we host chats.
Okay.
We did have a chat most recently for the opening that we have down in the Raleigh region.
Perfect.
But I think, knowing that we have webinars that are hosted by a lot of consultants sometimes, I've had people reach out to me via email and just say, what resources would you recommend? There's a ton of ways to learn more. We have the ES Continuum program now, which is a formal way for people who are environmental specialists, and not just environmental specialists, I will say,
Good.
to have that open conversation with their manager about, it's something I could be interested in. You never really know until you get the experience. Some people will try it and go, this is not for me. The day is much longer when I'm sitting at a desk and not behind the wheel of a truck. Whereas other people are just going to really dive right in. They're going to absolutely love it. And the more EHS1 projects we get, the more environmental specialists and consultants get to overlap at work.
Excellent.
So hopefully, if you're an environmental specialist who's kind of interested, hopefully there's a job where you're working with a consultant and you can just pick their brain for a little bit. If you want to see all of our open positions, you can head over to our website, triumvirate.com/careers.
What resources and tools have you found to be most beneficial in growing your career in the AHS field?
One of the most helpful resources that I've leveraged over the years is really building a strong network of resources and people, connections.
Calais, we are at the time where we play this or that. Rapid fire questions. No time to think. You gotta give me the first answer on your brain.
Cool.
Ready?
Yep.
New York or North Carolina?
New York.
Yes. New York City or upstate New York?
New York City.
Ooh, I wasn't expecting that. Movies or concerts?
Movies.
Movies. Beach or lake?
Beach.
Healthcare, higher ed, or life sciences?
Higher ed.
Judy, you ready for this or that?
Yes.
Let's do it. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Good answer. Cooking in or takeout?
Cooking in.
Road trip or get on a plane?
Plane.
Basketball or soccer?
Basketball.
North Shore or South Shore? Massachusetts. I couldn't even finish. Charlotte, you ready for this or that?
Yes.
Cool. New York or California?
California.
Walking or running?
Running.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Beach blanket or beach chair?
Beach blanket.
Nice. Flip-flops or sneakers?
Sneakers.
In-N-Out or Chick-fil-A?
In and out.
Nice.
Awesome.